Moved by stories of successful US visa lottery winners, Jafor decided to take a chance and try his luck. With hope burning brightly in his heart, Jafor seized upon the opportunity to apply for the US visa lottery, driven by ambition. For months, Jafor awaited the results. The thought of a better life drove him forward, despite the many obstacles in his path. When his application was accepted, he felt a surge of excitement and anticipation. The chance for a new beginning was finally within his grasp. However, he needed to provide DNA proof of his 3 sons to secure their visas as well. He was directed to a designated laboratory for the DNA testing. Few days after the DNA test was conducted, Jafor received a mail from the visa processing authorities about the result of his DNA testing. He was thrilled when he received the mail. However, as he opened it and read the results, his world came crashing down. Many years ago in the state of Delta, there lived a young man named Jafor. Jafor is a young and ambitious graduate from one of Nigeria's universities. Jafor harbored dreams that extended far beyond the familiar confines of his homeland, Nigeria. He lived with his loving parents but yearned for the opportunities and prosperity that lay in foreign lands, hoping to carve out a brighter future for himself and his family. His parents, beaming with pride at their son's dream, supported his aspirations wholeheartedly, providing both their blessings and financial support to facilitate his journey to Italy. With a heart full of hope and a mind brimming with ambition, Jafor bid farewell to his family and friends. The journey was long and arduous, filled with uncertainties and numerous challenges, including language barriers, but Jafor's determination never wavered. Upon his arrival, he quickly secured a job at a local chocolate factory in a small Italian city, thanks to the assistance of a friend who was already living there. Jafor worked tirelessly, day after day, in a foreign land where every moment reminded him of the sacrifices his family had made in pursuit of his dreams. The promise of a better life kept him going, even when the days grew long and the nights lonely. As time passed, Jafor found himself longing for companionship. Amidst the hustle and bustle of his new life, he yearned for a partner with whom he could share his joys and sorrows. This longing grew stronger with each passing day, until one day, his parents reached out to him with an arranged marriage proposal. They wanted him to return home for an arranged marriage with one of their church members' daughter named Misan. Jafor, thrilled at the prospect of having someone to share his life with, immediately began making preparations to travel back to Nigeria. Just a few weeks after receiving the call, Jafor arrived back to Delta State. The excitement of returning home was noticeable, but it was the thought of meeting his future wife-to-be that truly thrilled him. When he first laid eyes on Misan, he was mesmerized. Her beauty and grace captivated him instantly, and to his delight, Misan felt the same way about him. Their connection was immediate, as if they had been destined to find each other. They went on few dates to learn more about each other. Each date brought them closer, like pieces of a puzzle fitting together. They enjoyed discovering new things about one another, and felt their bond growing stronger with each outing. He was grateful to his parents for finding him such a beautiful soul for wife. In a quiet ceremony attended by close friends and family, Jafor and Misan exchanged vows. They pledged their love and loyalty to one another, sealing their union with promises of devotion. The ceremony was quick, small, and simple, yet it was filled with joy and hope for their future together. After the marriage ceremony, Jafor returned to Italy with his new wife. The move was not easy, but their love and determination helped them navigate the obstacles. Their love blossomed. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. They shared dreams, laughed together, and supported each other through the challenges that life threw their way. Misan stood by his side. She became Jafor's anchor, her firm support a constant source of strength and comfort. Together, they embraced the adventure of starting a family in a new land. Months passed, and Misan became pregnant, a testament to the love they shared and the blessings that had come their way. The anticipation of becoming parents filled their days with joy and excitement. They prepared the nursery with care, choosing soft colors and comfortable furnishings, imagining the day their twin sons would arrive. The moment finally came when Misan went into labor. The hours seemed to stretch endlessly as they awaited the birth of their twins. And when their twin sons entered the world, their joy knew no bounds. The cries of the newborns enveloped their home like a melody of hope and promise. Jafor and Misan held their sons in their arms, their hearts swelling with a love they had never known before. The early days of parenthood were a whirlwind of sleepless nights and endless diaper changes, but every moment was precious. The twins, whom they named Tosan and Toju, brought immeasurable happiness into their lives. Watching their tiny faces and hearing their first coos and giggles filled Jafor and Misan with a profound sense of fulfillment. They marveled at the miracle of life and the joy that their children brought into their world, and they imagined this feeling would last a lifetime. As the years flew by, their family grew in number. They welcomed another son whom they named Laju. With each passing day, Jafor and Misan's love for their children deepened. Their home was filled with the laughter and light that only children can bring. They cherished the moments spent playing in the park, reading bedtime stories and celebrating birthdays. The bond between them grew stronger as they navigated the challenges and joys of parenthood together. As Jafor's life in Italy continued, he found himself struggling with the harsh realities of his new environment, leaving him yearning for a fresh start in a land of boundless promise. Jafor's life in Italy was not the dream he had hoped for. Despite his best efforts, the opportunities he had envisioned seemed to slip through his fingers. He started to dream of leaving Europe for a better country with his family, the United States, seeing it as a land of even greater opportunities. Moved by stories of successful US visa lottery winners, Jafor decided to take a chance and try his luck. With hope burning brightly in his heart, Jafor seized upon the opportunity to apply for the US visa lottery, driven by ambition. For months, Jafor awaited the results. The thought of a better life drove him forward, despite the many obstacles in his path. When his application was accepted, he felt a surge of excitement and anticipation. The chance for a new beginning was finally within his grasp. However, he needed to provide DNA proof of his 3 sons to secure their visas as well. He was directed to a designated laboratory for the DNA testing. Few days after the DNA test was conducted, Jafor received a mail from the visa processing authorities about the result of his DNA testing. He was thrilled when he received the mail. However, as he opened it and read the results, his world came crashing down. The test confirmed he was the father of his youngest son, Laju, but the results for the twins told a different story. Jafor was shocked and confused. He stared at the results, his mind racing with a million questions, unable to process what he was seeing. The findings of the DNA test results hit Jafor hard. Confusion washed over him, followed by a wave of anger and betrayal. The ground felt as though it had been ripped out from beneath his feet, leaving him reeling with a sense of betrayal and disbelief. With a heavy heart, he confronted Misan. His voice choked with emotion as he demanded answers that haunted his mind. "How could you do this to me? How could you have kept such a monumental secret from me?" Misan, equally shocked, struggled to comprehend the revelation that had shattered their world. To Misan, she had always been faithful to her husband, never once considered infidelity. The idea that the twins could have a different father seemed impossible and incomprehensible. How could the results say otherwise? As she read the test results, a wave of shock and confusion washed over her. Misan's mind struggled to grasp the situation and questions swirled relentlessly. How could this be? What could have caused such a discrepancy? Misan was overwhelmed, unable to find any logical explanation for the unexpected revelation. This made her not trust the result. Misan needed a second opinion about the accuracy of the results. She consulted another qualified laboratory to provide additional insight and clarity, but the result was the same as the first one. Jafor was not the biological father of the twins, Tosan and Toju. A realization slowly dawned on her, like a shadow creeping across her heart. Memories stirred, faint at first, and then grow clearer with each passing moment. Misan remembered her ex-boyfriend from before she met her husband, Jafor. They had broken up just a few weeks before she met Jafor. This realization brought a new wave of confusion and uncertainty. Could the timeline have overlapped in a way she hadn't considered? The possibility unsettled her, raising even more questions about the twins' parentage. In a haze of confusion and despair, Misan had revealed her past relationship to her husband before their marriage, but she did not provide all the details. Before Jafor, she had been in an abusive relationship, which she ended as soon as her parents called her and told her of a marriage proposal with their church member's son. She had never suspected that the twins were not Jafor's. She never dreamed that her past could come back to haunt her in such a devastating way. For Jafor, the revelation was a blow that cut deep to the core of his being. He felt betrayed by the love of his life. The sons he had loved and raised as his own were not his flesh and blood, a fact that threatened to tear their family apart. He felt a surge of anger and pain, his trust shattered. The sense of betrayal was overwhelming, leaving him questioning everything he thought he knew about his wife and his family. Jafor turned away, struggling to control his emotions. The love he felt for his sons was real, but now it was tainted by the knowledge that they were not his biological children. The bond he had with them felt like a lie, and the future he had envisioned for his family was now uncertain. Days turned into weeks as Jafor and Misan tried to navigate the fallout from the DNA test results. The strain on their relationship was noticeable, and the tension in their home was suffocating. Jafor struggled to reconcile his feelings, torn between the love he had for his children and the anger he felt towards Misan and her ex-boyfriend. The trust that had been the foundation of their marriage was severely damaged, and rebuilding it seemed an impossible task. Misan, too, was filled with regret and guilt. She had never meant to deceive Jafor, and the pain she saw in his eyes broke her heart. With each passing mile, the distance between him and Misan widened, a chasm of anger and betrayal threatening to swallow them whole. Jafor was in deep pain. Unable to contain his anger any longer, he took his family and journeyed back to Nigeria to inform his parents of the life-changing events that had unfolded. His heart was heavy with the burden of shattered dreams and a fractured family. When he finally arrived at his parents' doorstep, Jafor struggled to find the words to convey the magnitude of the upheaval that had befallen his life. As he spoke of the sons he had loved and raised as his own, only to discover they were not his flesh and blood, the pain of betrayal etched deep lines of sorrow upon his face. His parents listened in stunned silence, their hearts breaking for their son and grandsons. But amidst the turmoil of their emotions, they urged Jafor to forgive and reconcile with Misan, and to find a way to heal the wounds that had torn their family apart. But consumed by anger and hurt, Jafor turned a deaf ear to their pleas. Jafor's relationship with Misan and the twins grew strained. He no longer played with them as he used to and became distant with Tosan and Toju. Misan noticed this change and tried to talk to him, explaining that the twins didn't need to be biologically his. She pleaded with him, reminding him that the twins saw him as their father and that he had been a great father to them. She urged him not to let the DNA test results overshadow his love for his boys. Few months later, Jafor made up his mind to leave behind the pain and betrayal that had poisoned his happiness. Filled with a heavy heart and a sense of resignation, Jafor made the painful decision to leave Misan and the twins behind in Nigeria, taking only his biological son Laju with him to the United States. The weight of his choice pressed down on him as he prepared for the journey, knowing that he was leaving behind a life he had built with Misan and the children. For Misan, the pain of abandonment cut deep, leaving her adrift in a sea of sorrow and uncertainty. By leaving Misan and the twins behind, Jafor disrupted the family unit, causing emotional trauma to the twins who lost their father, and to Misan, who faced the pain of separation from her husband and son. By taking only Laju, Jafor inadvertently created a sense of division and abandonment within his family. The twins were left to deal with the absence of their father and brother, while Laju faced the challenge of growing up without his mother and siblings. Without her husband and Laju by her side, Misan faced the daunting task of rebuilding her shattered life, her heart heavy with the weight of loss and betrayal. Misan left Jafor's family's house and returned to her own family, who already knew what had happened and felt sorry for her. After months of staying in Nigeria without any contact from Jafor, Misan decided to start a new life without him. She looked for a job to support her sons and found an apartment for herself and the twins. Her parents advised her to contact Daniel, the twins' biological father. She hesitated at first, but eventually did it for the sake of the twins. When she contacted Daniel, who was already married and expecting a child, he understood everything and accepted the boys. His wife was unhappy about the situation, but she knew it was the right thing to do. The next day, she introduced the twins, Tosan and Toju, to Daniel, who was happy to meet them. They both agreed on visitation arrangements while Misan had custody of the twins who lived with her. He pleaded for Misan's forgiveness for how he had physically and emotionally abused her years ago. Misan found solace and happiness in her sons, Tosan and Toju. The story of Jafor and Misan revolves around the complexity of forgiveness and the impact of decisions on family unity. When faced with the revelation that the twins he had raised were not his biological children, Jafor chose not to forgive Misan and decided to leave her and the twins behind in Nigeria, taking only his biological son, Laju, with him to the United States. This decision had profound implications for all involved. The need for parents to consider the emotional well-being of their children when making significant decisions is very paramount.